much in total did you spend? Any places you wouldn't recommend? Best way to book everything from flights to accommodation. Was business class worth it, and how much was your ticket? I just had brownies, so if I've got shit in my teeth or on my face, then that's why. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So finally I'm getting around to filming my sit down, I was like, what is that? My sit down Europe video. So I'm gonna touch on, I've screenshotted all of like the most frequently asked questions. I'm gonna try my best to cover everything. I will see if I can put some clips in like over the top of me speaking so you guys like kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically I'm just gonna let you know how we booked everything, what we'd recommend, tips, basically we wish we knew, or things that we would do differently going back again. So yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it. I've got my whole itinerary here on my laptop in front of me that I just kind of created myself on notes, like on my phone. So yeah, as you can see, I've got the dates, when we leave, what hotel we check into. I've even got like some little notes on how long it takes to get from one train station to the airport, etc, etc. I've got some like lunch recommendations that I just wanted to add in there. One of the most asked questions was, did you plan the trip yourself? If not, how did you plan it? So pretty much I had an idea of the places that I wanted to go to, so that's obviously the first step. Make a list of everywhere you want to go, and then we kind of decided on rough dates. So actually no, we had to look at flights first, because you can kind of see, especially on Skyscanner, which days in the month are like cheapest to go. So we kind of went off that, and we found that the 13th was like one of the cheaper days to fly out. So basically as soon as we locked in our dates, I created a column like you saw in the screenshot of every single date, and then that's when we went to start planning on which order we should travel to these countries to. So in terms of what places we went to and what order, it was like completely at random. Like we didn't even really seek any advice. Oh, we did ask the travel agent when we went to go book our big international flights, and she said like she didn't really say anything about the order of countries that we decided to go in. Yeah, we decided to go into London because that's like the main, I think it's like one of the main sort of like airports that you fly into Europe. What's it called? Heathrow. So yeah, we decided we'd go into London, have a few days there to kind of like reset, recharge, make sure we're not jet lagged. And we had 2 nights there, which I find was enough. Unless you do want to do like touristy things like the London Eye, Buckingham Palace and stuff like that. But we'd both been to London before, so we mainly just went there to just chill, do some shopping, went to some nice places to eat and stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend maybe like at least 4 or 5 days in London if you've never been to, you know, see everything. I do have highlights on my Instagram that you can refer back to. I've saved all the hotel information, all of like my mini reviews. I rated them all and stuff like that, so you can go back. So I'm not going to really touch on that in this video because it's all on Instagram anyways. But yeah, the hotel that we stayed at was nice. It's very small, but that's just standard in London or in Europe in general. Like their rooms are literally tiny. So yeah, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, basically once we figured out what order we wanted to travel to the countries, we put it in the notes so we can kind of see, obviously without booking anything, and just to see if stuff flowed. Then we discussed how many nights in each. So we knew we didn't want to stay in London that long, hence why I said before we only wanted to go there to pretty much just like catch our bearings and just relax for a bit before Paris. I'd been to Paris before, so we didn't spend too much time there. We did 3 nights. I find 3 nights to be like the perfect amount of time for like a quick trip. 2 nights is too short, and 1 night, like, don't do 1 night. We did 1 night in Milos, and so many regrets. Like it's actually pointless doing 1 night. Definitely recommend at least 3 to 4 nights minimum in each place. So Paris, 3 nights. That was perfect amount of time to go do some sightseeing. We only just went to the Eiffel Tower a few times at night. It does sparkle every hour after 11, so 11, 12 and 1 a.m. it sparkles at night. You can actually go where I went for my photo. You can go, like, it's literally on the road, like in between the 2 lanes. It's actually not too scary because it's not like cars go past very fast, but yeah, it's just kind of annoying because there's all like people in the background of like your photos, but like you can't really just tell them to move because they're literally in the middle of the road, like they can't move. But yeah, if you're brave enough, definitely head there. If not, I mean, you don't really need to risk your own life for a photo in the middle of the road. You can get a photo anywhere. Like the Eiffel Tower at night is magical in itself, but when it sparkles, it's just amazing. So yeah, definitely recommend doing that. Anyways, I'm going off topic, but to summarize the question of us booking, we kind of organized all the places ourselves, and then once we had set dates, and we knew we wanted to arrive into London and leave from Portugal, we then took those dates and those countries to Flight Centre to see if they can get a better price on our tickets from what we saw on Skyscanner, and they were able to actually beat it, so then we just decided to go with them. We did actually end up booking a couple domestic flights ourselves just because it was easier and cheaper, and then some flights as well were booked through Flight Centre as well. There's a couple questions about how we traveled from each place. So planes, ferries, like the only way to get to some Greek islands is by ferry. I will leave all the information down below, but we used ferry hopper and sea jets to book all of our ferries. We did a train from London to Paris, and I kind of wish we did book more trains. We just thought flying would be easier, quicker and all of that, but to be completely honest, like, it was such a headache. And do not book morning flights because you think you've got all day. If you wake up early, you get to the next destination early, you've got all day, because that is the last thing we wanted to do when we got to a new country or new destination, was to go out and explore. Like, we just wanted to chill, you know, chill at the hotel, check it out, have a slow afternoon, and, you know, plan the next day and then get up the next day and go and do some sightseeing. But because we had only really booked like 2 or 3 nights in each place, we had no other choice than to get an early flight. As soon as we got to the hotel, dump our luggage, and then go off. So that's definitely one thing that I'm not gonna do again, is one, book early flights. Like, afternoon flights are fine. That means you get even extra time at the place before you go and fly. You don't have to get up at fucking 3 a.m. in the morning, because like, you have to be there like at least 2 hours before. The airports are hectic, the lines are crazy, and you actually need to be there at least 2 hours before, even on a domestic flight, whether the flight's 1 hour or whatever. I would definitely recommend getting to the airport at least 2 hours before. And it's super confusing, like, it's airports that we've never been to before, we have no idea where we're going. So yeah, I would definitely not book any early flights, and you may as well just book an extra night, like, for all that hassle and stuff like that. And who wants to get up at 4 a.m. on holidays? Not anyone. That is one thing I wouldn't do again. But going back to how we booked it all, even just like things to do. And I also got questions asking like, how do I even know where to go, what to do, things to do in each place? Especially if you've never been there before. Honestly, TikTok and Instagram was so amazing. Like, I literally typed in best places to see in Mykonos, and every single place that I wanted to go. And there's heaps of TikToks from, you know, like travel bloggers and stuff like that that I've posted that's so freaking helpful. So yeah, that's basically how I found out stuff to do in those particular places. So that was a great help and a good tip. But yeah, other than that, I pretty much, I mean, it didn't really take me that long to research because I knew exactly where we wanted to go for a long time. Like, I had the list of places that we wanted to go. The only hard part about organizing it all was like slotting it in. And because my friend Vic was in Europe, traveling with like Dakota and Liz, I wanted to kind of like match it up so we could spend time together. So that was a little bit hard to navigate, but we got there in the end. I would say like the style of trip that we went on gave me like Kentucky vibes, because we were constantly on the move. We didn't really have that much time to relax. It definitely was more of like an adventurous, fast-paced holiday rather than like a relaxing holiday. It's like one of those holidays that you need a holiday from when you get back to recover, because it's just so hectic. But personally for me, like, I didn't mind it. I just kind of wish we had more time to like relax, whether it's just one night extra in some places. And yeah, when we went to Milos, we were only there for a night, and I just don't recommend that, because one, Milos is amazing. I would definitely stay there 3 nights next time. But yeah, the one night was just hectic. Like, as soon as we got off the ferry, we basically had to go dump our stuff off at the hotel, which I actually forgot to book accommodation for. Thankfully, I just went straight onto booking.com and tried to find it was like a little motel close to the port where you get off from the ferries. So we literally walked from the port to our little motel, dropped our stuff off, and then we went straight to the beach, which was the beach that I took all those really cool drone videos of. I think it's called Sacramento Beach. Oh, I just wanted a whole day there just to relax and just spend the whole day just lounging at that beach, because it was incredible. I'll definitely be back. We only really had like a few hours to like walk around, take a few photos. We didn't really have time to like properly enjoy the place, because there's quite a few things to see in Milos, and we kind of had to like hop to each thing. We did like a little boat tour, so we saw like Milos from like a boat, and we like went around and saw like all the cliff faces and stuff like that, and all the crystal clear water. And it was literally like the sun was going down, and then we had to leave the next day. So yeah, I just would never ever do one night anywhere else. So lesson learned. Still had an amazing time there, but yeah. Okay, what are some other questions? Yeah, things you wish you knew while you were planning and booking. Definitely what I mentioned before, no one night stays, and no early flights. Everything else, everything actually ran quite smoothly. Like, we had a few ferry delays, but like not major, but nothing like, we didn't have any flight cancellations or like ferry cancellations. Like, everything ran smoothly, thank God, because I was like, I don't actually know what we will do, because we don't have too much time in each place. So like, if our flight was cancelled and we had to wait, like, who knows when the next flight would be. But yeah, imagine if we had like cancelled flights and stuff, and we're only really staying at hotels for 2 nights. Like, that would completely stuff us up. So we're so grateful that nothing happened. Although we didn't book any budget airlines. So Ryanair, Wizz Air, is it called Webjet? No, that's a website. It's something along the lines of that. And like, airfares are like 30 euro or something like that. We decided to go with more expensive airlines just in case, because I know Ryanair and Wizz Air and stuff are like known to like cancel last minute or like have major delays, loss of luggage. Literally, me in Ibiza like 5 years ago, they lost my luggage and it was just cooked. But yeah, we had none of that, thankfully. Our domestic flights were a bit more on like the expensive side. I'll give you guys like a flight fare example, like comparing like Ryanair or Wizz Air to, I can't even remember, like we did Italian Airlines, we did Volunteer, and what was the other one called? Air France. So I think one of our tickets was like 120 euro each, and then Ryanair would have been like 30 euro. But it's kind of like Tiger Airlines vibes, like here, you know, in comparison to like Virgin or Qantas. I do wish we did take not ferries, trains more, because you only really need to be there half an hour before. There's no, like, it was actually such a smooth experience going from London to Paris. Another question was, did you get asked for your vaccination certificates? And the only place that they asked us was going on the train from London to Paris. As we checked in, got our tickets, we had to go through just like you would at an airport and like put your stuff on the thing, and they like scan all of your stuff. And then we got into another line where they check your passports, and that's all good. And then there's like another line where someone's checking your vax things. But to be honest, I could have literally showed someone else's it's just on your phone. They didn't scan anything. I literally, me and Peter just walked past like this, and he was like, yep, didn't even look at the date. So I did end up getting my booster before, because my last dose was over 9 months. So technically, on the government websites, if your last dose was within 9 months, you don't need a booster. Peter actually didn't need a booster, and he didn't get one. So yeah, I was just scared, like, what if I was refused entry to Paris? Like, what was I gonna do? So yeah, I just didn't want to risk it, just in case they were super strict. I wasn't sure what the process would be like. So yeah, I ended up getting the booster. Yeah, like I said, I don't even think he even wanted to be there. Like, he was just so like, yeah, like just looking, kind of just like looking over everyone with their phone in their hand kind of thing. But it could have just been that person. Like, who knows, the next day the person checking may have been stricter, who knows. But yeah, that was the only place they asked for any sort of like vaccination proof or whatever. Best way to book everything from flights to accommodation, like I said, all of our accommodation was booked through booking.com. By the way, this is not sponsored at all. We paid for absolutely everything ourselves. I didn't collab with anyone while I was away. How did you keep your fake tan on while swimming? Well, I didn't, because I didn't bring tan, and I just regret it so much. I know that sounds so dumb, like I'm literally going to Europe, but like, I'm very conscious of, like, I don't tan in the sun, and if I do and I go to the beach, I'm there for an hour and I'm gone. Like, I'm not one of the type of people that can just lay in the sun for hours, slash I don't really want to. I've got a history of skin cancer and like in my family, and I just don't want to be doing that. Like, I'm very sun smart. I would fake tan over real tanning any day. But me thinking, oh yeah, like just being in Europe, I'll just be tan. No. I literally only started to get some colour like in Portugal, and that was the last top. I didn't bring any gradual tan, any fake tan. You know, I did bring my tanning drops, but I didn't even think to mix that in with moisturizer or anything like that to put all over my body. But anyways, yes, I obviously did fake tan before I went over there. Nicely bronzed, London, Paris vibe. I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm just gonna let it, you know, fade away, and I'm gonna get a nice tan in Mykonos. No, my skin is quite olive naturally, but compared to when I'm really fake tanned, I look white. I thought I'd magically get like bronzed in Mykonos. No, because, well, I'm not laying in the sun for hours. So yeah, I didn't get a tan. I know this sounds so dumb, but like, you just feel your best self when you've got a bit of color. I would definitely bring fake tan or even a gradual moisturizer. I've actually been using the Loving Tan one in dark. Like, that's all I've got on my skin now, and I love it, and I just wish I brought this with me. So yeah, bring fake tan or a gradual tan. Was business class worth it, and how much was your tickets? So business class has been something that we've wanted to do for so long. Like, it's been like my dream. Like, I've just always wanted to do it. So we thought, why not? On our first overseas trip since COVID, let's treat ourselves to business class. Now, we actually got quite a good deal, to be honest, considering, like, we actually didn't plan to. We just wanted to have a look and see like what the prices are, and I thought the prices would be like so expensive, just because we were booking like a month or a month and a half in advance. Anyways, we were looking at economy tickets and got prices for that, and just for lols, we were like, let's have a look at business. They actually got us a really good deal. So usually business class costs from like $15,000 return per person, and I just wasn't prepared to spend that much, like, yet. I was like, if it's 15k each, like, that's 30k. Like, $30,000 is a lot of money. So anyways, we got the travel agent to just look up flights anyways in business class, and I think we ended up paying like, was it like 9,500 each, which is, that is cheap, especially for Singapore Airlines. It was a really, really nice plane, and it was just like everything I'd hoped for and more. Like, I was just like, we were just like looking at each other like, how are we even like in business class? Like, what do you actually mean? So yeah, we were like, you know what, I don't think it's ever gonna be this cheap ever. Like, that is unheard of, especially within like the time frame that we booked it in, being so close to leaving. Maybe it was like they tried to fill the seats or something and they put the prices down, but yeah, we were like, fuck it, like, let's just do it. Would I do it again next time? It's gonna be hard to go back to economy because you are just so comfortable and time just goes so quick when you're like comfortable and just laying down. We could lie flat. I wouldn't say like that was super comfortable. Like, it's not a proper bed, it's just basically a chair that completely goes down flat, and then yeah, it's kind of just like a seat, like a leather cushion seat, and they give you a pillow. But yeah, like the food on there was incredible. Like, obviously the service was like amazing. And yeah, like it was just like a really cool experience. Would we do it again if we went to Europe next year? Probably not. Like, for 20 grand, there's obviously a lot more things I would rather invest 20 grand into than just seats for 24 hours. Well, 24 hours there and then 24 hours back to Europe. But I think for the next time, like, it's not something that we will do every single time. Are you targeted by pickpocketers? No, thankfully. I didn't even really see one in action or anything dodgy going on, like, at all, to be honest. Apparently, yeah, Europe is like known for pickpocketers, especially in Italy. Naples, apparently, like a lot of people don't really talk the best about Naples. I mean, I literally lost my card holder and my Zara bag in Naples, and they both came back to me. Thank God. So many people message me saying that is like unheard of, especially in Naples. Like, they are known for pickpocketing. But yeah, nah. How did you get data while overseas? So I'm with Vodafone, and it lets you roam overseas, and you can use your plan as it is for only an extra $5 a day. So that's what we did. So I think it cost me just under $150. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Wait, times 30. Yeah, $150 just to use my plan as it is in Europe, and it worked in every country we went to. So I know you can buy SIMs. I'm pretty sure the brand is it 3? I think last time, or maybe the time before, I purchased a SIM just in London, and I just put money on it and I just use that as my data. But the only thing I don't like about putting another SIM in my phone is like then you can't receive messages, like if someone texts you or something like that, because you have a different number in, obviously, so you can't actually get that message until you put your old SIM in. So yeah, that's why, yeah, we just used our own plan on Vodafone. How was driving in Italy? It actually, well, I mean, it was stressful because their speed limit on the highway is literally 140. Like, that is normal. I would say their driving system is quite good though. Like, there's never any like traffic on the highway. Like, people just seem to know how to drive over there. But yeah, just like in like the little sort of streets, it did get a bit confusing because obviously you are on the other side of the road and the driver's seat is on the other side of the car. But Peter got used to it pretty quick, to be honest. Like, it wasn't too bad. We only drove from Bari Airport to Naples to Bari Airport, which then we took a Uber from Bari to Puglia, and that was a 3-hour drive. And the only reason why we did that was because there was no buses or trains available within like the time that we wanted. So that's why we decided to, I would definitely say that renting a car is like the more expensive option, but we just wanted to get there at a certain time, and there wasn't any like, yeah, like I said, buses or trains that were going around the time that we wanted to. So that's why we did that. Was there a major language barrier? Well, I mean, most people, to be honest, spoke like a little bit of English, so I feel like we didn't really struggle too much like understanding. Most of the menus in restaurants had like the English translation underneath each like item on the menu, so it was quite easy to understand. There were some places that were a bit more traditional that didn't have English, so we just like looked it up on Google Translate, and then it was fine. For like the most part, I feel like most people can speak a little bit of English, so we found it fine. How much in total did you spend? Well, we didn't really, like, we had like a rough budget in mind, but we just, because it was our first trip overseas, we didn't really want to focus too much on like trying to save money or whatever. So like we could have saved money on our trip from, where were we? Naples to Positano. So there's definitely cheaper options to get to those places. Like you can take ferries, you can take trains and buses, and that would cost you like a fraction of the price compared to say a taxi. But we just wanted to get there. I didn't really want it, well, Peter didn't really want to cart 3 big luggages around and, you know, have to worry about where we're going and stuff like that if we were to catch like public transport. So we did probably spend more money in transport than you had to. So for example, our Uber to Positano, which is around an hour drive, was 130 euro, which is about, is that almost 200 Australian dollars, something like that. Whereas if you took like a ferry, or not a ferry, like a train or a bus, it'd be like 15 euro each kind of thing. So like there is so many other ways that you can save money, but just for convenience, I would just rather spend a little bit more money, or not a little bit more. I would just rather spend the money to just get there direct, if that makes sense. We did spend quite a bit of money on accommodation, which is definitely, like, it's not necessary. Like if you're not in the rooms for the majority of the time, like you don't need to be spending thousands of dollars on a room. But I really wanted to spend the money and get nice rooms in like Santorini, just because it's just stunning. And I'm so glad we ended up booking like a little villa or like little room like that. That was our most expensive accommodation, I think, for those 3 nights. Yeah, it was like $1,000 a night. I think we spent like, or maybe even more than $1,000 a night. I think it was like 3.5, wait, that might be euro. Yeah, it was like really expensive. Actually, you know what, I might as well just share some accommodation prices. So London, that was on the more expensive side. That was 1,129 for 2 nights. I don't think it was worth it. The room was tiny. Like the location is what makes it expensive. It was literally right by Oxford Street, which is like the main shopping strip. But yeah, like you don't really need to be spending that much, especially in London. But in saying that, like there wasn't really many to choose from at the time of booking. So that was like one of the cheaper options, to be honest. Then, what's this one? Oh, the only one that I didn't book on booking.com was Paris, and I booked that direct with the hotel. That one was called Alfred Sommier. That was quite expensive for 3 nights. That was, I think, 2,700-ish. Let me just double check. It was beautiful. It wasn't super central. Like the Eiffel Tower was about 15 minutes away. Arc de Triomphe, which is on that main shopping strip, was close though. That was probably like 7 minutes. The one thing I did like about Paris was Ubers. That's actually one thing that I'll touch on after this, is getting like from, say, your hotel to a restaurant or a hotel to a beach club, because that was fucking expensive, because most of the places that we went to don't have Ubers, and they're all like a fixed rate, and it literally cost us 70 euro to get 5 minutes up the road from our Mykonos accommodation to a beach club. Anyways, I'll get into that shortly. So Mykonos accommodation for 3 nights, that was quite expensive. It was 2,000 almost. But like I said, I really wanted to stay in nice places in Mykonos. I feel like I probably wouldn't spend the money the next time we go there, just because we pretty much weren't in the room, like, at all. Like we were constantly out, either like, you know, in like the little main village, or like at a beach club, or at lunch. We did chill by the pool like for a bit, but like I probably would stay a little bit more. It wasn't super close to like the city center. I probably would stay a little bit closer to that, and I honestly wouldn't care where I stayed. in Mykonos, just because, like I said, you're not in the room. Far Out Beach Club, which was in Eos, that was really fun. So that was on the top of the hill. That was $639 for 2 nights. So I guess like not cheap, not expensive, a bit in between. Really nice rooms, pretty basic, really close to everything. You could literally just walk down the hill and you're literally at Far Out Beach Club, which is like one of the main reasons why we went to Eos, and like just the main bit where you can eat, all the restaurants and stuff like that. Santorini was $3,100 for 3 nights, so that was just a little bit over $1,000, and it was worth every cent. That was amazing, and it's been like a dream of mine to stay in one of those rooms like that with like a hot tub. Actually no, it wasn't a hot tub, it was cold. Actually no, it was warm. It wasn't like a jacuzzi. So yeah, that was Santorini. And then Milos was $144, and that was the accommodation that we forgot to book. Thankfully they had that available. It was fine, it wasn't anything fancy, it was just all we needed. It was clean, and yeah, like close to everything. So then we stayed as a stopover in Athens before we went to Zakynthos. Yeah, Zakynthos. And that was $400, which was so unnecessary. Although in saying that though, their room service food was so good, and we didn't really plan on leaving the hotel. Like, we'd gotten there late, and all we wanted to do was just like sleep and eat. And it was just a bonus that it was like literally at the airport. It was very nice. Well, I mean, it was $400, and I would do it again if we had to stop over like somewhere. But yeah, like there's obviously so many more affordable places that you can stay. And then Zakynthos, I think Vic booked, and that wasn't too expensive. I think that was around $600 for 3 nights. That was really, really affordable. And yeah, that was fine, to be honest. It wasn't anything fancy. It was just what we needed, and it was close to everything. In Puglia, we stayed in this apartment, and it was probably one of my favorite stays. Like, it was just so cute. It was like cottage vibes. It was just so traditional, and it was only $520 for 2 nights. I would have thought that a place like this would be like $500 a night. It was small, but it was so central. Like, that main beach was literally 2 minutes away. The Grotto Palazzi, where we had dinner, that fancy place, we walked, like literally took us 3 minutes to get there. I don't even think we took an Uber or a taxi once when we were there. For the price, that accommodation was amazing. So that was called a Remo guest house. Like I said before, everything's on my Instagram, all of my highlights. Then after that we stayed, what is hotel? Oh yeah, Hotel Matilde was Naples, and that one was okay. Like, it was pretty much in like right in the center of like all the shopping, which was cool. We had to walk around and stuff like that. It was clean. Yeah, that was fine. And then we went to, is that Positano? Yeah, Positano was expensive. We stayed there for 2 nights. I wish we stayed 3 nights in Positano. Like I said, I just don't recommend 2 nights, but for 2 nights we paid $1,800. So I mean, it was beautiful. Like, it was very nice. But yeah, there's just so many steps in Positano, like it's a joke. But yeah, we pretty much walked everywhere. You can't even really get taxis or Ubers because it's all like where we were, it was just all a one way. Then we went to Capri for 2 nights and we spent $1,025. That was a really good location. It was literally right up the top where like the main square is. Everything was walking distance. I mean, the only time we had to go down to the port, which we found out there was a lift. Yeah. We didn't know that there was a big lift from the top to the bottom, so we walked down. Thankfully, we didn't have to walk up because obviously walking down was a lot easier, but still, it took us like half an hour to walk down. Yes, there's a lift and it's €220 and you can go up and down the lift. So definitely do that. Definitely don't walk. I wish Positano had that. They need a lift. Like, surely they're making a lift or something. What is this one? Oh yes, Sardinia. Now Sardinia was probably one of the only places that we didn't really plan properly. So we did end up renting a car, and ideally we wanted to go to the very top of Sardinia. I'll give you guys a little map here. So I'll put a dot where we stayed and where we wanted to go. Now, we didn't realize that it was like a 3.5 hour drive from where we stay, which is Cagliari, which is like the main sort of city and where like most tourists stay, to the top. Now, that's where all the amazing beaches are. There's like this there's this beach that they call the natural pools, and everything is like crystal clear, and we really wanted to go there, but we just, I don't know, we just didn't plan it properly. The first day that we got there, we wanted to just chill because we did have 3 nights there, so we just went to the local beach, just chilled out for a bit, and then we're like, okay, tomorrow we'll go and explore. But we kind of just had like a slower morning, and then by the time we rented the car and like did the math, like it just wasn't worth driving there for 3.5 hours because we'd only really have like a couple hours there. We do want to go back to Sardinia, and we'd definitely stay more north of the island rather than down the bottom, which is where we were. So we can see all those amazing beaches, but the beaches that we did see were still incredible. Water there just reminded me of when we went to Exmouth, like just so blue, so clear, and just incredible. Like you wouldn't think that you're in Italy. Yeah, we kind of stuffed up there, but we still did have a really nice time there. And after that, we stayed in Milan, and we just stayed in this hotel kind of close to the airport, $220 a night. It was actually really nice. We just went out for dinner that night, and then we had to obviously go to Portugal the next day. Then we went to Portugal for 3 nights. I feel like in Lagos, you only really need 3 or 4 nights. Like I feel like the time that we spent there was like the perfect amount of time. We got everything pretty much done in a day, like all the sort of touristy things that you go to Portugal to see. And then the other 2 days we were just like chilling, walking around, relaxing, and that was 1,100, which was pretty decent price. Shit is cheap in Portugal compared to the rest of Europe. Even like Ubers and stuff like that, it's just so easy to get around. Like I said before, transport, especially in like Mykonos, is crazy. Luckily we did have a big group of us that we just split the taxi every time we wanted to go to a beach club, but like if it's just you two, you're literally paying like 70 euros, and to get back the same. So yeah, I would definitely recommend getting like a number from your hotel to like a private driver that you can just message when you want to be picked up. A lot of people rent quad bikes. There's a lot of quad bikes parked outside of beach clubs, and we all know what happens at beach clubs. I mean, unless you don't really care. I didn't actually really see police, to be honest. Like I'm sure a lot of people, you know, after a big night just hop on their quads and go back to their villas or hotels. I'm not gonna say that's an option because it's illegal and it's actually really dangerous because it's so hilly and windy. But yeah, I would definitely recommend organizing your transfers like within your hotel. Just be mindful that it is very expensive, especially Mykonos. Santorini is the same. We actually rented quad bikes in Santorini, which was amazing. So we went to Iowa, which is like on the other side of the island, and the sunset there is unreal. It's very, very touristy. Like there was so many people when we went there, but we had a nice dinner there. We actually went there twice, I think, while we were there. It takes about 25 minutes on a quad bike, and it feels like you're going like 120 k's an hour when you're really going like 60 k's an hour on the roads. But yeah, that was fun. I think it cost us 45 euro for 2 days, so that wasn't too, no, it was 45 euro a day, so it was like 80 something euros for the 2 days to hire a quad bike. I definitely would recommend it in Mykonos just to get around and just to see everything, but we didn't. We just took $60 taxis. We did try and walk for the most part, like especially to like dinners and lunches and stuff like that. Like the main city center from where we were staying was only about a 20-minute walk, so we just walked in. What was my favorite place we went to? I think Italy. I think Italy was definitely my favorite country. What place? I really did love Puglia. Like, it's actually so beautiful there. It's just a bit of a trek to get there because it's like on the other side of Italy, so it's not like near the Amalfi Coast or anything. Like, you have to actually like book a separate flight over there, and then to get from the airport where you land, it takes about an hour and 20 minutes to get actually into Puglia from the airport. So it's quite expensive. I think the taxi was also a fixed rate, and it was like €85 to get to our hotel in Puglia from the airport. So yeah, it was really nice. It's not really much to do there though. Like, I feel like 3 nights is enough. Like, it's mainly just like a really beachy sort of town. I would say like 3 to 4 nights max there is like a perfect amount of time. I really loved Capri, and I did love Positano, but I just didn't love the steps. And it was just a bit, it's just very busy. Like, there's just so many people there. I definitely think if we go to Positano next, I do want to spend the day at Arienzo Beach Club. Like I said, we didn't make a booking. So yeah, make sure you book in advance if you want to do stuff like that. We didn't make a booking, and unfortunately there was no day beds available, so we just kind of like chilled on the beach next to it and then just got the ferry back. They've got like a free ferry if you've made a booking. It just takes off from like the main port, you'll see it, and it takes you across and then back. It takes like literally 5 minutes to get there. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing that. It's really cool vibes. I think you get like, it's like a package she explained to us, and you get like a bottle of champagne, you get lunch for 2, and then like maybe some more drinks or something throughout the day. And then I think you're there for like 4 hours, is it? 3 or 4 hours? I can't really remember the package, but I think it was like €220 for like the 2 day beds, and then like the drinks and food, which isn't too bad. I just really loved Italy, like the food and just like the culture. Like, yeah, I really loved Italy. Did love Greece, but I just feel like it was just very, very touristy, very busy, very overpriced, which just like puts you off sometimes. Like, it's just like, really? Mykonos is cool, it's fun. Will I go back? Yes, I will probably go back. Most worn item. Ooh, definitely bikinis. Like, I probably wore them every single day. I didn't bring enough shorts. I actually bought a couple of shorts from Zara, and I've got some cotton on ones that I wore pretty much most days just because it was so hot, and I love my like long flowy pants, and it was just way too hot for them. Like, some days I was like sweating my freaking ass off. Even just wearing like a cute crop, or even like bikini tops and like long flowy pants, I was dripping. So like, definitely shorts or skirts. Any places you wouldn't recommend? I mean, I loved pretty much every place that we went to. The only place that kind of let me down a little bit was Sardinia, but that's mainly because we didn't get to go to the places that we traveled there for, basically. But like, every other place like exceeded my expectations. They were like literally exactly how I imagined it to be, especially the Amalfi Coast. Like, it's just so dreamy. Like, it's just stunning. How bad were the ferry lines? Honestly, I'm gonna attach a video here. It honestly looked like cattle, like a herd of cattle going into a ferry. So basically, the ferries are massive, and they've just got this one big opening, and it just comes down, and as soon as that, like, the door comes down, the people that were on the ferry rush out, and then the people that are going on rush in. And it is hectic, especially with luggage. But yeah, we didn't really have any problems with ferries. Like, it was nice and air conditioned inside. There was lots of room. There's so many seats, so like, you do have like assigned seating, but majority of the time we just kind of like went into a section where there wasn't, where the seats weren't full, and kind of like sat together. Yeah, you can like charge your phone on there, and there's like a little snack bar where you can eat. Like, yeah, it was good, it was fine. And the one thing that I was a little bit concerned about, especially getting on my first ferry, was the luggage, because you literally just dump it in the bottom of the boat. Like, as soon as you walk in, you can just literally just leave your luggage there and then yeet upstairs. So that was what I was most nervous about. Like, what if, like, for example, if we just like left our luggage to the side, and then, because some ferries have like few stops, so they don't always go direct to your destination. So for example, I think when we went to, where did we stop? Was it Milos? I don't know, I can't remember, but there was like a few stops along the way. So they'll call out, I don't even know what the Greek islands are called, but they'll call out when they're arriving. The one thing that did cross my mind was, what if someone accidentally takes my luggage and they're on like this random island that I can't actually just go to get it back. Like, it'd be an absolute mission to get back. So what I did do a few times, if there was stops on the way, I would like literally just go downstairs and just like look at my luggage and just like make sure it's still there. And that kind of just gave me a bit of like reassurance. But other than that, like the ferries were like amazing, like so good. What's your average day spending? I didn't really monitor that, to be honest. And I didn't really have like a set budget on what we should be spending each day. I didn't really budget like we didn't really have like a daily budget for spending, but food and just like everything in general is so much more expensive in Europe, especially because you've got to convert it, and it's just expensive in general. But I'd say most of the breakfasts were included in our hotel, and then lunch, I mean, sometimes we didn't actually go to a restaurant every single lunch. Like sometimes we just grab like a ham and cheese panini or like just something on the go. And then dinner was where we probably spend the most money, and then dessert, and then like shopping along the way. Honestly, couldn't tell you how much we spent in a day. Like maybe 150 euro. Does that sound about right? I feel like that's about right without breakfast. I will say though, a tip to water, buy them from like, not quickie marts, but like convenience stores and stuff like that in like a pack, because they're so much cheaper. If you were to buy like just a bottle of water from like a random shop, like a cafe for example, you'd be paying like 2 to 3 euro for like a small bottle of water at some places, which is like, I mean, expensive. So you can actually get like a big pack for like 5 or 6 euro, and it'll come with like 12 pack of water. So that's what we did in pretty much every single place that we stayed. Like as soon as we like checked in, we'd go walk around, grab some water, fill the fridge, and that way we're like always constantly have water. And we didn't have to spend a fortune on water. So this video is going to be well over 40 minutes, so I think I'm going to leave it there. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Like I'll reply back. But yeah, for the most part, I feel like I covered pretty much everything. But I hope that helps you guys, and yeah, have fun if you're planning on heading to Europe. It's honestly like, it doesn't even feel like anything happened in the world. Like everything just felt so back to normal. Like it was crazy. Like there's no people wearing there was some people wearing masks, but for the most part, like everything seemed like it was, you know, back to normal, which is amazing. Especially after all those lockdowns and stuff in like majority of those major cities. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys plan your trip to Europe, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next one.